guys, I'm going to show you how to draw a wave that breaks in the center. The first wave that I showed you how to draw was a wave that would be breaking right. Like if a surfer took off, you would go right. And this wave is going to be a wave that's breaking in the middle so that surfers, if they were on the wave, they could be going left or right. Kind of like when pipes and backdoor are both breaking at Pipeline in Hawaii. Anyway, so it's really easy. When you look at the picture overall, this is what it's going to look like. Something like this. It can be a lot to kind of take in all at once, but if you just do it step by step, most people can do this, okay? So first things first, we're going to start off by drawing the letter U. Once you've drawn the letter U, you're going to start at the top of the U and extend all the way to the end of the paper. And then all the way to the end of the paper. I kind of curve it a little bit, and that gives it a nice little effect. If yours isn't as curved as mine or more curved than mine, it will work no matter what. The next step is I'm going to draw a line that's kind of curved above all of this. So just above, I'm going to draw a line that's just a little bit curved. If yours is straighter than mine or more curved than mine, that's okay. The little bit of curve is going to make it look like the wave is really barreling over. The next step is, if you kind of remember this in my first wave drawing, is instead of drawing a solid line across on the bottom, I'm going to do dotted lines. It just kind of gives the idea that the water is pulling up and barreling over. So I'm going to do dotted lines across. Dotted lines across. Don't want it to be too solid. And then inside of this U, I'm going to do some squiggly lines because it really makes it look like the water is kind of frothing and spraying as it's barreling over. You can even add a couple lines to really make it look like there's some spray coming off of the wave too. If you want, you don't have to. And then the next step is to draw C's. Something that I like to do is use like a round object. This is like a random kaleidoscope of my own daughter's that I've been using, but like a lid like this would work as well, or to a cup. Something that would fit inside of that wave that I just drew is what I would want to make the C's. It's not necessary to do that either. Like if you think you're really good at drawing freehand C's, that's fine as well. So I'm going to do this for the sake of the video. I'm going to do about 3 on each side. Move it over. It's really hard for me to get that good in the camera. And then that kind of looks like the wave pulling up and over. The next thing you do is I just kind of draw some not so straight lines going across to make it look like the water is kind of frothing up and pulling up to make that wave, to make it look like moving water. And then I always like to add a sun or some kind of detail in the background. Your sun could look different. You could put a rainbow in the background. I've done that before too. So that's what we have. When I color in the wave, I like to choose 2 different colors of blue. Usually I'll go for one that's a little bit lighter or brighter, and then one that's darker. So 2 different shades of blue. If you don't have 2 shades of blue, what also works is using like kind of like a blue green or a shade of blue and then a shade of green, especially when you add the green to the inside here, because often the water will look green, and sometimes surfers will even call the barrel the green room. That's never really been my thing, but that is what some people say. But I use the blue. I usually use the darker blue for the top part of the wave that's barreling over. And then that like squiggly line there stays white because that's supposed to be the part of the wave that's kind of like frothing up and over. So that stays white while I draw all this in here. So that's going to be my darker blue part. And then I'll start, that's the dark blue, and then the lighter blue, different shade of blue, I'll start on the inside of the wave. And then I kind of alternate. So that'll be the lighter blue or brighter blue. My blue isn't necessarily a whole lot lighter, but it is a different shade. It's kind of like a brighter blue. And then dark blue. You don't need to watch me color for a minute, so I'll pause this and catch up to you in a few. Okay, so we have the wave all colored in, right? So I used the dark blue here and that kind of brighter, lighter color on the inside. And then just alternated to kind of make it look like the barrel of the wave. And then I actually almost started coloring in this bottom part too. But this down here, I just color in the two different shades of blue, like I did with the last wave drawing. And then it kind of makes it look like the water is moving around and pulling up to make that barrel that we see breaking. So I'm going to color in the bottom of this, just alternating the blues. I usually like to start with the darker blue color on top. But it doesn't mean that it has to be that way. I think that's just kind of what I usually end up doing. And then we'll just color in that whole space underneath. So this is kind of how I like to color it. It doesn't have to be exact, but I just alternate the dark blue to the lighter blue, dark blue to the lighter blue. And then I like to put the very last part at the very bottom. I kind of like to draw color it in brown, because then it makes it look like the sand. So then we have the sun. Sometimes I'll make my sun orange, sometimes more red, sometimes I add a lot of colors. I think today I'm just going to go ahead and color in the sun yellow. And then just really simple, I'm going to color in every other section of the sun's ray. I'm also going to do yellow, and I think the other part I'll do orange. But I mean, there's like a gazillion ways to draw a sun. And if you really want it to look more like a sunset versus just a shining sun on a sunny day in the middle of the day, rather than more like the sunset, because once you start adding like oranges and reds and stuff, it kind of makes it look more like a sunset. You could color the whole thing yellow. That would be pretty cool too. But I'm just going to kind of make it a bright orangey color to make it look more like it's the middle of the day. And I mean, you could even make like different versions of this too. If you want to try to draw some surfers dropping in, you could have like Kelly Slater on the back door and Rob Machado surfing pipe. I think that was the Showdown, right? Back in the day. I honestly can't remember. I think it was Rob Machado here and then Kelly Slater there. Because Rob Machado, I think, is like a goofy foot. So he likes the pipeline, and then Kelly's regular, so he likes the back door. I wouldn't like either of them. Waves like that scare me. Because if you don't make it, they just go boom. So that's my wave. Not a wave I would necessarily want to surf, but somebody definitely would. It's a big kind of fun, gnarly barrel, just crashing over. Lots of different ways to color it. This is just the one way. Sometimes I'll go back in and like fill in some of those white areas and just make it like really saturated. These can be really fun if you have watercolor paint at home as well. I really like how this looks with the watercolor. If you draw it first with pencil, and trace it with a marker, and then watercolor it, it will also look super cool. Maybe I will do a demonstration of that as well. Okay. So there you have it. That is a barreling wave that is breaking both left and right. Yeah. So, all right, guys, thank you so much for watching this. And if you choose to draw this picture, I would love, love, love to see how it turns out. So please take a picture, post it on the your classroom, and show us. I hope you guys are all staying safe and staying healthy.